Welcome to the Voices That Propel Us, stories of justice, action, and community, a space where justice meets action and community voices rise. Each episode, we bring you stories from the front lines, changemakers, disruptors, and everyday heroes who are building a more just, equitable, and liberated world. This is more than a podcast. It's a call to listen, learn, and move together. You're just listening to music from the incredibly talented Stephen Kong. You can find him on Spotify and Bandcamp. Today we have with us Jim Marshall. Jim Marshall is a polymathic intellectual who has devoted over 50,000 hours to the study and practice of multiple dimensions of human development. He received a classical education at a Jesuit Military School, was accepted into engineering school while still a junior in prep school, and attended college on academic scholarship. He graduated college with a Bachelor of Science cum laude. While still an undergraduate, he began the study of alternative arts and sciences, which today would be described as transformational and holistic. Eventually, he became a professional practitioner, and after 28 years of formal education, had a long career as a human development engineer. He has successfully worked with hundreds of clients and is the inventor of Septemics and several consciousness expanding systems. His areas of expertise include psychology, philosophy, theology, parapsychology, science, engineering, mathematics, law, literature, history, music, organization, metaphysics, military science, political science, physical culture, human potential, and education. Okay, well, good morning. I'm really excited and grateful that you're here today. Since we've been introduced to each other, I've been doing a little research into the work that you do, and I'm really excited to explore that further with you today. But how are you doing today?
Great.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So, just to start off with, so you've spent over 50,000 hours studying human development. So what would you like to say, or what would you most like this audience? So my audience composed of people who really want to make a difference in their communities. So what would you like them to know more about who you are and what drives your work?
Well, one sentence will give context to this whole discussion.
Mm-hmm.
I am the discoverer
Mm-hmm.
of hitherto unknown natural phenomena,
Mm-hmm.
which greatly aid in the understanding of people, from
Okay.
which I constructed a revolutionary practical philosophic system called Septemics,
Mm-hmm.
and published it in the book Septemics, Hierarchies of Human Phenomena.
Great. Well, thank you so much. And so what early experiences shaped your curiosity about human behavior and human potential?
Actually, I was one of those irritating kids who was always asking questions.
Uh-huh.
Uh, Actually, I have no memory of a time when I was not intensely interested in learning everything taught in every university.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, that's impossible because nobody lives that long, but the drive has always been there.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to know. So I loved school. I absolutely loved school. In fact, I can still remember the exact moment
Uh-huh.
when I found out that some kids didn't like school.
Would you like to share that?
Shocked.
What did you think?
I
Yeah,
was
when you found
absolutely
out.
shocked.
Yeah.
So I'm standing at the chalkboard,
Okay.
boy, and we're doing division.
Uh-huh.
I'm 10 years old. And he said something that I just didn't understand. I said, wait a minute,
Okay.
let me get this straight. Are you saying you don't like school? He said, no, I hate school. Couldn't believe it.
Uh-huh.
That was like a new concept to me. Hating school. How could that be? But
Right.
then I realized that sort of explained a lot of the behavior of other
Mm.
children.
Yeah.
That's why they did a lot of what they did that I didn't understand because they didn't like school.
Yeah.
I was thoroughly enthused every day to get my little briefcase
Uh-huh.
and go and study arithmetic or Abraham Lincoln or whatever we were learning that day.
Yeah.
It's a very, very conscientious student.
That's wonderful.
And I went to school for 28 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have kept going, but there's other things to do in life. At some point, I said, well, I'm going to have to do some other things. I love being a student and I'm good at it. And I won
Mm-hmm.
a lot of scholarships and such. But but there's other things to do. And then I had a whole career as human development engineer.
Okay.
And my work as human development engineer led me to discover the phenomena that I now call septemics.
Right, great. That's actually a great segue into the next question that I had. So, as I spoke to you earlier, it wasn't until we were introduced when I learned about this topic of septemics, and I think it's absolutely fascinating. But how do you personally describe septemics to someone who is hearing about this for the first time?
Well, septemics is a philosophical science based on the fact that many phenomena related to humans occur in a sequence of 7 levels.
Okay.
Literally, the word septemics means of or pertaining to 7. And septemics comprises a collection of scales or sequences, each of which breaks down various human phenomena into a hierarchy of 7 steps. There are 35 such scales,
Uh-huh.
each of which is unique. And between them, they span the spectrum of human experience, by which I mean any problem, dilemma, difficulty, situation that any person has anything to do with people
Hmm.
will successfully be analyzed by one or more of these scales, usually more than one.
Thank you for explaining that. So, can you just share the moment or process in which you discovered the patterns that eventually became the 35 scales in Septemic? So, how did you come up with those numbers? So, I'm just curious to see like what your process was behind that.
Okay, well, I think actually the story begins when I was accepted into engineering school at the age of 16. Now, of course, at the time, I thought I would be engineering physical things like airfoils and motors and gears and electrons. But by the time I had my bachelor's degree, a lot had happened, and it was clear to me that I wanted to engineer the human psyche because that is the area of greatest mystery, of
Hmm.
greatest unknown, and more importantly, it is the area in which we as a race are failing miserably. 95% of the problems that people have in industrialized society are because they don't understand people, don't understand the spouse, don't understand the son, don't
Hmm.
understand the boss, don't understand somebody's running for office. And that's why in the United States, more than 50% of all marriages end in divorce. Clearly, they did not understand that person. If they did, they either would have not married them
Hmm.
or they would have lived happily ever after. And by the same token, all over the world, in case you haven't noticed,
Hmm.
people routinely elect morons and criminals to run their
Right.
governments
Right.
because they don't understand them.
Yeah.
Do you think if the German people understood Adolf Hitler in 1933, that
Hmm.
the Nazis would have won 37% of the vote, which was a plurality at the time? No,
Wow.
that wouldn't have happened. The Nazis would have gotten some votes from
Yeah.
psychopaths and sociopaths and narcissists and criminals and so forth, but that's not 37%.
Uh-huh.
So this is a very, very serious problem that everyone has.
Yeah.
And Septemic solves it across 35 axes. So you
Okay.
get 35 slices of the cake to figure out this person.
Okay, that's wonderful. And as you were talking earlier, it just seemed like you've always had that thirst of knowledge, even as a child. So I feel like you probably could have gone in like a lot of directions in your life and been successful, anything that you chose. But do you remember that moment of when you just thought that you were just really fascinated in like human behavior and thought like, this is what I really want to focus on?
Yeah, I was always fascinated with human behavior.
Oh, okay.
Always.
Wow.
Always.
Even as a child?
Even as a child.
Wow. Okay. So, when did you decide that you wanted to do more than this? It was like more than just like studying human behavior, but you actually wanted to help contribute
Right.
towards,
So this
human.
actually picks up where I was in my answer to the previous question, which was I had a long career as a human development engineer.
Right.
I brought engineering principles, engineering tactics, engineering strategies, engineering devices, engineering techniques, engineering formulae, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, to
Uh-huh.
human development, where I would help my clients one on one attain whatever they personally wanted to attain enlightenment,
Yeah.
responsibility, uh, mental clarity, whatever the person was seeking. I would help them to get that through these engineering approaches. So, just to clarify,
Uh-huh.
basically, I use Socratic dialogue aided by biofeedback.
Okay.
So, if you study the Socratic dialogues, there are many of them, all written by Plato.
Mm-hmm.
It explains about how Socrates would bring the person he was talking to an epiphany.
Okay.
And I did exactly the same thing, but I was aided by biofeedback, which made it very, very fast.
Mm-hmm.
Because, in case you don't know, every time you think a thought, the electromagnetic field around your body changes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that is easy to read on a meter.
Okay.
Once you know what you're looking at and you understand electronics and you work with it, it becomes very specific. So a guy comes into me, say,
Mm-hmm.
how can I help you? He says, well, I'm really having a lot of trouble with my wife and I need
Right.
some help. Okay, fine. So then I would interview him. The
Uh-huh.
interview is free, but he's on biofeedback. He's connected to the device.
Okay.
And so I ask him general questions like, how do you get along with your mother? How do you get along with your father? How do
Okay.
you do at work? So, and I'm getting different reactions on from the biofeedback.
Oh, wow.
So when I say to him, how do you get along with your father? He says, fine, no reaction. How do you
Okay.
get along with your mother? Boom, big reaction.
Wow.
I know right then this is going to be a fruitful place to dig.
Right.
So then we get into the first session. I say, tell me about your mother. Boom,
Yeah.
same read.
Yeah.
So as he's talking, I see these other things because if he's upset with her, I'll get one response. And if he's
Okay.
worried about her, I'll get another response. And if he's angry at her, I'll get another response. And if he has a secret from her, I'll get another. So I can tell exactly. So I can see, oh, this guy's got a secret from his mother. So
Mm.
I say to him, do you have a secret from your mother? Boom! How did you
Okay.
know that?
Right.
See? And so
Yeah.
we were right into it. So basically, what was happening is I would get results comparable to psychotherapy, but
Okay.
orders of magnitude faster.
Wow. Wow.
So what I'm saying is like hundreds or thousands of times faster.
Yeah.
And because of that, the whole thing was foreshortened, and I could see it in a way that probably no one ever saw it before. So a guy
Right.
goes to a competent psychologist, right, with
Mm-hmm.
the same problem. He can't get along with his wife, right? And he sees him an hour a week for a year, right? 50 hours.
Uh-huh.
And at the end of the year, he's doing better, right? He's
Okay.
getting along much better with him, right? I could do that in one session.
Wow.
And because I could do it in one session, I could see what the psychologist couldn't see because
Yeah.
it was foreshortened. It was like, "Brum."
Yeah.
So I could see these phenomena and I
Right.
wrote them down.
Yeah.
So fairly early in my career, I started to notice that I could predict the outcome of the session.
Wow.
Now, I didn't tell this to anybody, but I made notes.
Uh-huh.
And as the decades rolled by, it became obvious to me that the client would be at a specific level on a specific scale that I had previously observed and recorded.
Okay.
And as a result of our interaction, he would go up to the next level on that scale.
Wow. And do you notice that they notice as they're making progressions? Like I yeah, how because it just myself too. I've struggled with a lot of PTSD in my life and know that there's a lot of like underlying like things in my subconscious. But yeah, what are the reactions when you help to pull that out from people? Have they
Well,
had like these, yeah,
they,
just realizations?
they have realizations,
Okay.
but the realizations are subject related.
Mm,
You know, the guy says, oh, now I see why I can't get along with my wife. She's
yeah.
just like my mother.
Yeah.
See? And he goes, blah, 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 blah. And,
Yeah.
he's really happy with this now because he's figuring out what the hell's going on. See?
Right.
that thing in his subconscious is now in
Yeah.
front of him.
Yeah,
Now,
that's beautiful.
now I knew where this was going and
Mhm.
never said it.
Okay.
So, because that's not my place. My place is to get the person to have his epiphany.
Yeah.
It's its own thing.
Yeah.
And so, because I could do this so quickly, I could see these phenomena and I could write them down.
Yeah.
Now, the other element to this was I'm a polymathic intellectual.
Okay.
I'm an expert in about 20 subjects. So, because of that, I could see this for what it was.
Mhm.
So, I had enough understanding of enough different subjects to see that when these manifestations occurred, what was going on here.
Okay.
So, by 1995, I had simply observed and recorded 32 scales.
Okay.
There's no theory of septemics.
Yeah.
I just was just direct observation and I wrote it down, which is what any engineer would do,
Yeah.
right? He's doing some operation and he sees some phenomenon. Oh, that's interesting. I'm going to write that down, you know? So that's what we do. So
Right.
around that same time, uh, I was one day pondering a difficult client.
Uh-huh.
And I was trying to assess this client against one of the septemic scales. Of course, the word septemics didn't exist, but I still had the scale.
Okay.
I had simply observed it and wrote it down. Well, this was a 6 level scale that I knew was correct by then because I had been using it for decades.
Okay.
So what happened was I could not find this client on this scale.
Oh,
This is
wow.
the first time this had ever happened.
Okay.
She doesn't fit here. She doesn't fit here. And I said, wait a minute. There's a 7th level. There was a level I had never seen before. This was the first chance I had had to observe that phenomenon. And there's a very specific reason for that, which I could explain to you. It's not vague, it's very germane to what I was doing, why I had not seen it before. Well, as soon as I saw it, I understood the client perfectly,
Okay.
and I knew where to insert it into the scale. So when I inserted it into the little scale, making it a 7 level scale, at that moment, it went from being a line, which is what a scale is, to a
Mhm.
plane, meaning a
Okay.
whole body of data. So I had all of these interlocking, interacting, intersecting data
Mhm.
regarding this scale. It
Yeah.
was not just a line anymore. It was a whole body of information. Now, when I saw that, you have to realize I took 26 semesters of math and loved every minute of it. So I think in math. So when I saw this, I said, whoa, this is mathematical. Whatever this is, it has to be natural law
Mm.
because it has math embedded in it.
Okay.
And anything that has math embedded in it, like, for example, the Fibonacci sequence, is
Mhm.
natural law.
Mhm.
So then I thought, I found something here. Then I asked myself, I wonder how many of these other scales might be 7 level scales that hadn't been developed all the way.
Uh-huh.
Because you have to realize I wasn't developing anything.
Yeah.
I was just helping my clients and making notes. So that's when I got the idea. I'm going to look at these other scales with this eye to, is this actually a 7 level scale?
Okay.
Well, in a short period of time, each of them went to 7 levels. And when it did, it manifested mathematically.
Wow.
Because until you get the whole scale, you don't see the mathematics. So now I have 32 7 level scales,
Okay.
each of which had mathematics embedded in it about various human phenomena. And I said to myself, having gone to school for 28 years, this looks like a new subject to me because I never saw anything like this anywhere. And then I thought, I could go from helping people by the hundreds, from helping them by the hundreds to helping them by the millions, if I put this data in a book and get it out so people can have it. So I'm going to have to write a book. So the first draft was finished in December of 95.
Okay.
And I immediately sent it to colleagues of mine, all of whom had graduate degrees in a variety of subjects. And to make a long story short, they all loved it. They had differing responses, but very enthusiastic responses.
Uh-huh.
Told me that this was exactly what I thought it was, which was a new subject that people would get. And I have to tell you now, that was 30 years ago when I first sent out the first version of it. So people have been learning this now one way or another for 30 years. I've been watching people respond to this.
Mm-hmm.
In all that time, no one has ever said to me, I don't get this. This
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense, or anything like that.
Yeah.
What they say at first blush is they open the book, never saw it before, open the book, they look at page 82, whatever it is, and they're
Mm-hmm.
saying, oh, this makes sense. You know what makes sense?
Yeah.
Natural law. Everything that's natural law makes sense. The Pythagorean theorem, right? You don't have to be brilliant to understand the Pythagorean theorem, right? You probably learned it when you were 12 or 13 or 14
Yeah.
in math class, and you looked at it the first day and said, oh, yeah, I see. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. And then you can change it into different forms and use it to calculate things.
Yeah.
Oh, I see this. See, that's not hard to get.
Yeah.
Now, a few people have said to me, what book is your book like? And I have to tell them in all candor, I don't think there's ever been a book like this before, at least on earth.
Mm-hmm.
But each of these 35 scales is presented in what you could call a table or a spreadsheet,
Okay.
which is very similar to the periodic table of elements.
Right.
Now, if you look at the periodic table of elements, it's another one of those things you first see when you may be 12 or 13 or 14 and you look at it. It's a little overwhelming at first blush, but you say, ah, this makes sense. Hydrogen is one, helium is lithium is three, and it goes down horizontally and vertically.
Right.
See, and the more you study it, the more sense it makes.
Yeah.
And so the more you learn about chemistry, you say, yeah, this paradigm works. So
Okay.
that's what all over the world, everybody in science uses the periodic table, even though we've added 50 elements since it was first created by Dmitry Mendeleev.
Yeah.
So now I should tell you
Uh-huh.
the names of the 35 scales, because then you will know exactly what subjects are addressed in the book.
Oh, okay.
Because you
Okay.
have 35 periodic tables for the corresponding subjects.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of the 35 scales, 24 of them are individual scales and 11 of them are group scales. So these are the individual scales.
Okay.
The scale of basic purposes, the scale of personal influence, the scale of choice, the scale of permeation, the scale of thought, the scale of identity, the scale of evaluation, the scale of motivation, the scale of control, the scale of stopping, the scale of scholarship, the scale of literacy, the scale of human ability, the scale of memory, the scale of spiritual identity, the scale of mental deletion, the scale of aberration, the scale of physical fitness, the scale
Mm-hmm.
of justification, the scale of belief, the scale of equanimity, the scale of attack, the scale of conflict, and the scale of reaction. And these are the group scales: the scale of
Okay.
relationships, the scale of life spheres, the scale of government, the scale of civilization, the scale of survival, the scale of management, the scale of exchange, the scale of communication, the scale of allegiance, the scale of sexuality, and the scale of politics.
Okay.
Any one of these scales by itself could dramatically improve the life of the reader.
Right.
And I'll give you a simple example. I mentioned the scale of motivation.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most important things to know about a person is their motivation. We do
Mm-hmm.
this all the time, right? You're waiting for a bus, guy comes up, you start talking to, you're thinking, what does this guy want?
Uh-huh.
Does he need uh, bus directions? Does he want to borrow money? Does he want to live? Right? You're
Right.
asking for his motivation. That's how the police solve crimes. they find someone with a motive for
Yeah.
that time. So this is highly relevant to everybody you know. So you could ask yourself, what's my mother's motivation toward me? What's my
Hmm.
father's motivation toward me? What's my brother's motivation toward me? What's my sister's motive? And you could do this for every person you know or have
Okay.
ever known. Now, every time you find a correct level, meaning you spot the person correctly, you have
Hmm.
an insight, or you might call it a realization. So let's say you spot that your mother is, her motive toward you is level 2, which is duty.
Okay.
Oh, now I understand why she does X, Y, and Z.
Okay.
You have an insight because you know her motive.
Yeah.
So that will happen every single time you find a correct answer. That's the way you know you found the right answer.
That's
If you
wonderful.
don't have a realization, you found the wrong answer.
Yeah.
You got it wrong. Then you could take this and reverse the vector and say, what is my motivation toward Joe? What is my motivation toward Mary? What is my
Okay.
motivation toward Fred? What is my motivation toward Alex? And do it for everybody you know or have ever known.
Yeah.
So by the time you finish this exercise, depending on how many people you know, you will have had something like 500 insights
Yeah.
on
No,
the
this is
subject of motivation.
this is
So
wonderful.
your mind on that subject, on that axis, will be really clear. Okay,
Yeah.
I know what Joe wants from me. I know what I want from Mary. It's clarifying. See, when you
Yeah.
have the insight, it clarifies your mind.
Yeah.
So you would be a much smarter person on this axis. Now, that's
Okay.
only one scale. There are 35. You could
Right.
do this with all 35.
Wow.
So let's say you're dating some guy for 3 years
Hmm.
and you're thinking about getting married.
Uh-huh.
Now, wouldn't it make sense to ask, why does this guy want to marry me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not saying to ask the guy. You don't know what you're going to get. You might get gobbledygook.
Hmm.
I'm just saying open the book because there
Yeah.
are only 7 levels.
Uh-huh.
And because there are only 7, it's not a hard choice.
Yeah.
Imagine going to a restaurant, they only have 7 things on the menu. It doesn't take you 3 minutes to figure this out, right?
Right. Right.
So you look at it, you know the guy, you've been hanging out with him for 3 years. When you study it, oh, I see. He's at this level. And you
Hmm.
have an insight.
Yeah.
Now, maybe you discern that he wants to marry you because he loves you. That's level 1 on the scale
Yeah.
of motivation, the highest motivation of all. You
Yeah.
say, great, let's set the date. But maybe that's not what happens. Maybe what happens is you say, now that I thought about this, I think this guy wants to marry me
Hmm.
because I drive a Lamborghini. I have a 60-foot yacht. I fly my own Learjet. I live in a $15 million condo and I have $10 million in the bank.
Okay.
That's a different motivation. That's level 4 money.
Yeah.
Now, what you do with that is up to you.
Hmm.
You might say, okay, this is not the first guy who wanted to marry me for my money, but this guy is smart.
Okay.
He's handsome. He's funny. He's articulate. He's congenial. So I'm going to marry him anyway. See, knowing what his motive is. And you might live happily ever after.
Yeah.
That does happen. And I can give you examples. That does happen sometimes. And maybe that's not what happens. Maybe you say, I don't want to marry somebody who wants to marry me for my money, even though this guy is a nice guy. I want to marry somebody who loves me for myself, not for my Lamborghini.
Right.
So you break up with him because you're looking for a husband. And
Yeah.
you're not going to marry this guy because he wants your money. So now you might think in that latter example that you'd be upset and
Hmm.
you will not be upset. You'll be relieved.
Right.
You'll say, thank goodness I figured this out now,
Yeah.
this guy. And then when you go forward looking for somebody else, you're a little smarter.
Hmm.
Maybe you don't mention that you drive a Lamborghini on the first date. You
Right.
see?
Right.
Because you want to see who this guy is. So that's just a very quotidian example of how you can use this.
Yeah. No, I really love that. And, I'm just thinking that, it's really powerful when we do work on ourselves, like as an individual. But I love to hear your thoughts on like how this can like translate into larger like social change or, changing the world in a positive direction. So, how do you think by us knowing ourselves and like our behaviors and motivations, how do you think that can help to create like a better world? Because I think right now, I'm not sure if you'd agree or not, but I feel like this world has so much division right now, and we're just not listening to each other, and it just feels like a lot of chaos. So how do you see this like inner work with people making just like larger, positive
Okay.
changes?
So the first thing I need to point out is
Hmm.
it's not just yourself, it's others,
Right, right.
right? You're figuring out you have a lot of trouble with your boss.
Yeah,
So you spot him on this scale and you spot him on this scale. Now you understand him.
yeah.
Okay? You may not be able to change it, but you understand him now.
Hmm.
So you can interact with him more successfully. But remember, there are individual scales and there are group scales.
Oh, okay, okay,
So, for example, there's a scale of government.
okay.
Okay. 99.999999999% of the population has a completely wrong idea about government.
Oh,
Completely wrong.
okay.
You always hear about the left and the right, the left and
Right,
the right, the right.
right.
There is no left or right.
Yeah.
It's just made up. It's up or down.
Hmm.
It's a government that brings the people up or a government that brings the people down. So
Right,
think about it. The Nazi government, right? Between
right.
1933 and 1945, did it bring Germany up or did it bring it down?
Uh-huh.
That's a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But then think about the American government,
Hmm.
right? Beginning in 1789, when the Constitution was adopted, has it been bringing people up or has it have been bringing people down? Well,
Uh-huh.
that's not hard. I mean, it's the American dream. Where'd that come from? People
Uh-huh.
have been coming here by the millions. I mean, your ancestors and my ancestors came here
Uh-huh.
to become Americans, right? So obviously, that government has been bringing people up. So
Hmm.
when you look at the scale of government, you find out there are only 7 levels of government.
Okay. Okay.
And so, and that government is a reflection of the populace.
Hmm.
There are populations that cannot have democracy. You see this all the time, right? United States, well, we're going to put in democracy. And it's a
Yeah.
train wreck. Those
Right.
people are not ready for democracy. You have people been killing one another for 1,000 years.
Right.
Are they ready for democracy? No.
Uh-huh.
So it's a reflection of the. So this tells you a lot. Excuse me. It tells you what's possible with this population.
Right.
Now, if you read the chapter on government, there is one paragraph in there in which I go through the entire history of the United States federal government.
Okay.
Tell you what level it was at the time,
Hmm.
and then when it went to the next level and when it went to the next level. So it started out at level 1, which is libertarian,
Hmm.
and it has now gotten to the point where it had become fascist, and now it's moving, which is level 5, and now
Hmm.
it's starting to transition back to socialist, which is level 4. That's what's going on.
Hmm.
Okay. So this is why, if you listen to these people, it's just gobbledygook.
Uh-huh.
It's like you try to label these people. Like, for example, uh, I find that I'm absolutely in accord with Thomas Paine. Thomas Paine is really the father of the American Revolution.
Okay.
He wrote a pamphlet called Common Sense in 1775, which was distributed throughout the colonies, and that really motivated the people to have a revolution.
Hmm.
So I have studied this man at great length. Now, he was thought of as a liberal in his day.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Most so-called liberals today would want to hang this guy.
Yeah.
Same thing with Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson was considered a liberal. But if you read him carefully and look at the laws,
Mm-hmm.
by today's standards, he's not a liberal. So
Right.
what are we talking about?
Yeah.
You see?
Right.
So when you try to make this binary, well, you have the liberals and the conservatives, it doesn't work because it's not binary. There are
Right.
7 levels of government. So if you actually study this, it makes sense.
Yeah.
You can see where governments have gone up, governments have gone down, and you can see how the behaviors at these different levels, it's very specific.
Yeah.
Now, let me give you an analogy when I say specific. I've been into gardening since I was a small boy. So let's
Okay.
say you invite me to your house to see your garden. Jim, come
Mm-hmm.
over and look at my garden. Okay. So I get to Denise's house.
Uh-huh.
I go in there and say, oh, she has hydrangeas, irises, tulips, chrysanthemums, begonias,
Mm-hmm.
peonies, roses. Now, the reason I can analyze it like that is I know a lot about flowers
Right.
because I've been dealing with them my whole life.
Uh-huh.
Now, if you asked me, I could tell you, well, these need more shade and these need less shade. And these
Okay.
need more water and these need less water, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, if you bring some 5-year-old girl into your garden,
Mm-hmm.
that girl is going to see and smell exactly the same thing that I saw and smelled.
Okay.
And all she can say is, these are pretty and they smell nice.
Right.
That's all she knows. She doesn't know a chrysanthemum from a begonia.
Uh-huh.
She can't analyze it. Now, most adults are like that little girl regarding people.
Okay.
They don't know what they're looking at.
Right.
So, a guy, Friday night comes along, right? He gets
Mm-hmm.
all dressed up. He goes down to a nice nightclub, right? And there's a young lady there. He buys her a drink and they start to talk, right?
Right.
And this conversation is going on. And he's thinking, boy, she's pretty and she smells nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same thing the little girl just said about your garden.
Right.
He doesn't know anything about her.
Yeah.
She could be a narcissist. She could be a gold digger. She could be a communist.
Yeah.
We don't know. See, when I was a young man, this data didn't exist because I hadn't discovered it yet. So I
Okay.
made the same stupid mistakes that everybody else makes.
Okay.
Now, I got involved with people I never should have been involved in and
Mm-hmm.
wound up regretting it.
Okay.
Getting involved with some woman I never should have been involved with her in the first place. She had all these things. I just didn't see it because I didn't know the data.
Mm-hmm.
So, I wasted a lot of years on that. I
Okay.
could have been looking for somebody else. So, this is really, really useful stuff.
Right. No, I love that.
So, let's say somebody comes to you and says, let's go in business together.
Mm-hmm.
You should do a septemic analysis of that person.
Okay.
Where's this guy on this scale? Where's this guy on this scale? Where's this guy on this scale? Because every time you do, you're going to have an insight.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, I never give the level of a living person, but I will give the level of deceased persons,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So, let's say we take Adolf Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
Hitler was at level 7 on the scale of basic purposes.
Okay.
His basic purpose was to destroy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to most people, that makes no sense at all. Most people are going to think, why would that be somebody's basic purpose? Well, the good news is there aren't too many of those people.
Mm-hmm.
But if you really study him, which I did as part of my study of history and uh, military science and such, once you know that his purpose was to destroy, he makes a lot of sense. For
Right.
example, I started studying Hitler when I was, I don't know, 13. He studied World War II.
Mm-hmm.
And he did all these things that to a student of military science make absolutely no sense.
Okay.
You have to realize military science has been around for thousands of years. There's lots of hundreds and hundreds of things that we know you should do or you should not do.
Mm-hmm.
This is not debatable anymore.
Okay.
Everybody who studies military science knows this. You never leave your flank unprotected,
Mm-hmm.
period. You have somebody there to guard it. See, that's ancient.
Okay.
So he did things that made no sense at all.
Yeah.
None. He let the British expeditionary troops escape at Dunkirk.
Uh-huh.
He could have captured the whole army. He had them right there against the sea. He could have brought in all of his tanks, all of his planes, all of his ships, captured the whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
made them prisoners of war. He didn't do it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Or, for example, he had a non-aggression pact with Stalin,
Mm-hmm.
and then he invaded them. What sense does that make? His right-hand man, Hermann Goering, who was not a stupid person, said to him, if the Russians get in the war, we will lose.
Mm-hmm.
He attacked them anyway.
Okay.
Because what happens is you come to realize Hitler wasn't just destructive to the Allies, he was destructive to the Wehrmacht,
Yeah.
destructive to his family. He was destructive to Germany. He was destructive to Europe. If you know that, you would never vote for this guy. You would never,
Mm-hmm.
because there are a lot of smart Jews in the 30s who got the hell out of there.
Mm-hmm.
They said, this guy is a nutcase. I'm going to the United States,
Yeah.
like Einstein. So that's a perfect example of,
Yeah.
let me tell you something. He was convicted of treason in 1923
Oh,
in
okay.
Germany,
Okay.
and they only gave him 5 years. Most people convicted of treason are executed
Okay.
for thousands of years. And he only served 9 months. And during that 9 months, he wrote Mein Kampf,
Yeah.
which only made him wealthy. So that was a complete wrong handling. They should
Yeah.
have executed him in 1923 and would have changed the whole history of the world.
Yeah. No, I didn't even know about that. And yeah, because I think about that a lot too, that there's a lot of like hard things, in history and just even right now, I think there's just a lot of challenges we have to go through. But just in your experience, what gives you hope right now in regards to human behavior? Because I think we really do need the hope right now. And I'd love to hear just like, what do you find hopeful for people right now?
Let me put it this way.
Hmm.
On a large scale, I don't think there's a lot of hope.
You don't think so? I don't know.
No,
I feel like that's why I'm doing this podcast though, because I feel like there's a lot of people doing good work out there. We just need to find each other. I think it's just like
that's on
I feel like there's more than us than there
that's
are
on a
like other
small
people.
scale.
Oh, okay.
Look, people have bought this book.
Yeah.
They tell me it changed their life.
Hmm.
They tell me their family is better now.
Okay.
They use it in their practice. On a small scale, this
Okay.
is a big success,
Right. But how
right?
come, why do you think it doesn't translate to like a wider scale though?
All right. So,
If we're making changes
bring back something I
individually?
mentioned before.
Hmm.
Most people think of the heliocentric theory as coming from Copernicus,
Okay.
who was about 500 years ago. Actually, the heliocentric theory was originally propounded 300 BC by a Greek named Aristarchus of Samos, but it didn't catch on until 500 years ago.
Uh-huh.
1,800 years went by of people falsely thinking that the
Mm.
sun went around the earth.
Uh-huh.
So that's a very
Yeah.
typical thing. So in the very long term,
Hmm.
yes, I'm optimistic.
Okay.
When I say the very long term, I mean many centuries from now. If you want to talk about, do I think you're going to help people? I have absolute confidence that you're going to help people because I can see that you're a smart person
Oh,
and
thank you.
you are genuinely interested in doing good.
No, I
So you're the
appreciate
type of
that.
person who would love Septemics and will use it,
Yeah.
right? That's the people I meet. But long term, yes.
Hmm.
So I won't be around for it, and you
Yeah.
probably won't be around for it, but the
I think,
children of our children of our children of our children
right.
someday.
Do you think it's because of the people who's in power though? Because I actually think about this a lot because the reason why I think I have hope for people is that I feel like there's more of us who like are just good natured and want to make better changes than there are people who unfortunately have the power. Because even the protests are like a lot of people who showed up. So do you think it's like the people in power is the reason why like there's just this lack of like hope that you have?
Well, let me say this,
Um,
in case you haven't heard.
mhm.
Earth is controlled by fewer than 8,000 people.
Earth, you said?
Earth,
8,000?
8,000.
Wow. No, I haven't heard
There's
that.
actually a book out,
Okay.
pins the number at 6,500.
Okay.
Well, some years have gone by, and I'm willing to allow a little bit of a buffer, but my calculations are that's
Uh-huh.
about okay.
Okay.
You have these billionaires,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of these people, I mean, you know about
Mm-hmm.
Bezos, you
Mm-hmm.
know about Musk, you know about uh, who's the guy from Facebook?
Zuckerberg.
Right,
What's this? Yeah,
Zuckerberg.
I forgot.
We know about them,
Uh-huh.
but there are a lot of people like that we don't know anything about
Right.
behind the scenes. Okay,
Yeah.
so and in case you haven't noticed, go online. You can check this out. They can leave Earth anytime they want.
Mm-hmm.
They can get in their ships, their anti-gravitational ships,
Right.
anti-inertial ships, and go to another planet
Mm-hmm.
anytime they want. Or they have hundreds of underground cities,
Okay.
palatial cities.
Okay.
Okay. And the guy who helped them build them went on the internet and rang the bell and they killed him. Okay. I listened to his whole presentation. They melt the rock.
Uh-huh.
They don't have to dig it out. They
Okay.
have devices that melt the rock, and then they can build a whole city under
Wow.
solid rock.
Wow.
So that's why you see these people get away with murder.
Right.
They get away, like Hillary Clinton. She destroyed 33,000
Mm-hmm.
emails that were under subpoena.
Uh-huh.
That's 33,000 counts of destruction of government property.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if she could be, she would get like 8,000 years to be convicted of that.
Yeah.
I said all along, she's never going to go to jail,
Okay.
or like they tell you that uh, Lee Harvey Oswald killed Jack Kennedy, and if you
Mm-hmm.
believe that, I have a bridge for sale.
Okay.
He didn't. The man who killed him, his name is James Files.
Mm-hmm.
He confessed on the internet
Yeah.
at great length. He was the U.S. Army marksman.
Uh-huh.
He fired the bullet into the right side of Jack Kennedy's head that blew his brains out.
Okay.
That person. It was a Mercury round, which he constructed himself.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, he wound up going to prison for attempted murder. And as an old man, he said, I'm going to tell the story.
Uh-huh.
Part of the reason that we know a lot of these things now is a lot of these people who were around for these things are old enough now.
Okay.
And what are they going to do? Guy's dying of cancer. He says, well, I'm going to tell what I know.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody does it, but enough that with the internet now, it's out there.
Mm-hmm.
If you listen, you can find this. James Files, he's known as Jimmy Files.
Uh-huh.
And he did this under the control of the mafia.
Right.
Jimmy Rosilli, top mafia guy, I believe he's from Chicago, ran the operation
Okay.
for the CIA. They got away with it.
Uh-huh.
People don't even know. Okay. So to me, That's like the worst thing that ever happened in America,
Right.
that they killed Jack Kennedy.
Yeah.
He was ready to pull the troops out of Vietnam. He was going behind the scenes to make peace with Khrushchev.
Mm-hmm.
He was telling the Treasury to print their own money instead of the Fed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? He did a lot of things that made a lot of crooked people mad at him.
Okay.
And they just said, he's got to go.
Yeah.
And they did it in broad daylight on national TV to send a message.
Okay.
Don't mess with us because
Yeah.
we don't care who you are. We can kill you.
Yeah.
So that's Earth. Now I know thousands of stories like this because I read and I watch videos
Uh-huh.
and I have a very good memory. So there's not a lot of cause for optimism in the near term. I
Mm-hmm.
will say this. The globalist fascists
Mm-hmm.
control the world, have been trying to unify it under a single global fascist state.
Okay.
For many decades now, they've been trying this.
Uh-huh.
The main thing in their way is the United States. So they have been trying to take down the United States for
Okay.
60 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And killing Jack Kennedy was the beginning of it. It's
Okay.
been going on ever since.
Yeah.
So these evil people control the world.
Okay.
And they're shameless. They will do anything. And there's very few people willing to stand up to them. And if you do stand up to them, you disappear.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Hoffa.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to Jimmy Hoffa? Nobody knows.
Yeah.
They got rid of him. He was warned. So that's what happens. That's the story of Earth.
Yeah.
Look at Abe Lincoln. He saved the Union and he freed the slaves. And what did he get for it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gandhi. He liberated his nation without a war.
Mm-hmm.
What an achievement. What did he get for it? He got shot.
Yeah.
Jesus, same thing. He taught, be kind, be generous,
Yeah.
brotherly love. So what did they do? They tortured him to death on a cross.
Yeah.
That's a message. You see?
Yeah.
So that's what goes on.
Yeah.
If you study history with an open mind, an unbiased mind, and you can ferret out what's going on, you find out about these things.
Yeah.
You know that the federal government has been working with the mafia since the 40s? This is well documented now.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's a lot, but I do try to keep hope though, but thank you again so much for your time today. I have, such a wonderful time talking with you. I feel like I could, just love to learn more about this. And, I think after talking with you, I definitely want to get your book and learn more about these different scales and, just more about what you're talking about. But just lastly, so for listeners who want to take one small step toward understanding themselves or others better, even just starting today, what skill or tool would you recommend that they start with? Like, so something small if they want to just like start like understanding themselves today.
I would invite your viewers to my website, which is
Okay.
septemics.com, Septemics, where you can
Mhm.
see what many readers have said about it, what
Okay.
many journalists have written about it,
Okay.
what the reviews are. You can read sections of the book itself. And there's even a pre recorded audio called Introduction to Septemics that you can listen to.
Hmm.
It explains it to a new person in 15 minutes. Do that. If you do all of that, you're probably going to want to buy the book. But,
Hmm.
as far as this business of hope, there has always been hope on a small scale.
Right.
Uh, there are always uh, good things happening. There are always, heroic people.
Hmm.
I mean, the founding fathers risked their lives to
Uh-huh.
found this nation and create the first really free nation on earth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if you go back and study, you'll see terrible things happen to most of them. I
Okay.
mean, you know about George Washington, right? But there's 50 other guys out there. Terrible things. They lost their property. They lost their
Mm-hmm.
families. Terrible things. Nathan Hale was hung by the British.
Mm-hmm.
So there are good things that happen on a small scale,
Mm-hmm.
and those are the people who I study,
Mm-hmm.
like Socrates and Plato and Aristotle and Sir Thomas More and Thomas Aquinas. So, when you study those people, okay, yeah, they're smart, but you have to study it. You have to make the
Mm-hmm.
time. If you're out partying and having fun and getting drunk,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to figure this stuff out. You
Right.
have to be willing to sit down and study.
Okay. 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 Well, thank you again for your time. And how can people find you if they'd like to connect with you?
Well, my email is on my website.
Okay. Wonderful.
So if you want to send me a nasty email, you can do that.
No, I just feel like you're doing so much beautiful work for people. And, that's why I wanted to have you on the podcast. I think just like you're helping people to be their better selves. And I think that's really beautiful work that you do.
Yes, and every person that I help, I'm very happy about it, and so are they.
Yeah.
And so that's what goes on. And there's all through history, there have been people like that,
Yeah.
helping others, and on a small scale, because it's what we want to do. I'm
Right.
motivated to do this.
Yeah.
I worked on this for 25 years.
Right. Right.
It's a lot of work.
Okay.
And so now people can read it and benefit, and I hope they do.
Yeah, no, no, no. Well, thank you again. And I wish you all the best. And yeah, I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, Denise. It
Okay.
was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for being here and tuning in to Voices That Propel Us, stories of justice, action, and community. Your presence in this movement matters. If today's conversation moved you, share it, talk about it, and keep the work going. Together, we're not just imagining change, we're making it. Until next time, stay bold, stay grounded, and stay in the fight.
Every time I feel so mad and sad and bad, I say to myself,